Before we begin this story, I want to tell you something straight. If you're watching this right now from anywhere in the United States or the United Kingdom, you need to hold on to your seat, because what you're about to hear is not just another tale of soldiers, bullets, and survival. This is about a woman who rewrote the rules of war when the odds were stacked 6-1 against her. And if you love stories of impossible courage, of moments when the world thinks it's over, but one person stands up and proves otherwise, then make sure you smash that subscribe button right now, because I promise you, you don't want to miss the rest of this journey. It was deep in the mountains of Eastern Europe, where shadows of abandoned bunkers stretched across icy valleys, that General Elena Markov found herself in a position no commanding officer ever wants to face, cut off from her unit. Stranded without communication, her weapon the only thing standing between her and certain death, and as the moonlight painted the frost with silver, 6 enemy mercenaries tightened their net around her, men who had stalked battlefields long enough to smell fear, men who thought they were hunters closing in on prey. But what they didn't know was that this woman wasn't prey at all. She was the storm waiting in silence. Hours earlier, the mission had gone wrong. A covert extraction of a defecting scientist turned into an ambush when local informants betrayed them. Gunfire shredded the night, soldiers scattered, and the general refusing to retreat while her people bled had stayed behind to cover them, only to be forced deep into the forest where the silence was heavier than the snow. But silence didn't mean safety, because she could feel it, the rhythm of boots, the shifting of branches, the whisper of voices on the wind, the sound of 6 predators who believed they already owned her fate. Elena crouched low behind a ridge, her sniper rifle steady in her arms like an extension of her heartbeat. And as she breathed in the cold night air, her mind drifted for a fleeting second to the years of training that had carved steel into her veins, to the countless times she had told young recruits that bravery wasn't about charging into fire, but about standing firm when every instinct screamed to run. And tonight she was going to live those very words, because the truth was, she wasn't just going to fight to survive. She was going to fight to send a message that no enemy, no matter how many, could break the will of a soldier who refused to bow. The 6 men thought they had her cornered, but as Elena adjusted her scope and let her finger hover over the trigger, she smiled faintly, because in her head she already knew this night wasn't about survival. It was about perfection, and perfection for her meant 6 shots. 6 kills, no misses, no mercy. The forest was quiet, but it was the kind of quiet that burned through nerves like acid. A silence filled with the weight of eyes watching from every angle, and as Elena adjusted her position on the ridge, she could already hear the muffled laughter of 2 of the mercenaries below, men confident that they were minutes away from crushing the life out of a lone woman. But what they didn't understand was that she had already mapped their positions in her mind. She knew the way their footsteps sank heavier in the snow, the way their breathing betrayed their lack of discipline. And as she pressed her cheek against the stock of her rifle, she became something beyond human. Her focus narrowed into a single line of intent, her heartbeat slowing into a rhythm that matched the trigger beneath her finger. And then the first shot cracked through the valley like lightning, a clean strike straight through the visor of the man leading the hunt, dropping him without a sound, his body folding into the snow like a shadow erased by dawn. In that split-second chaos, she rolled to her side, sighted the second target who froze in disbelief, and before he could even raise his weapon, the second shot tore through the silence, another clean hit that sent him sprawling. The other 4 panicked, their shouts echoing across the ridge, and for the first time in hours, Elena felt the tide shift, because fear had entered their camp, and fear was her greatest ally. She didn't need an army. She didn't need backup. She only needed patience, precision, and the cold determination to see this night through until not a single enemy remained standing. Snowflakes drifted down like falling ash as the remaining 4 mercenaries scattered into the trees, trying to flank Elena from different sides. But what they didn't realize was that every step they took only pulled them deeper into her trap. because she had shifted from hunted to hunter. She crawled low through the brush, every muscle tuned to silence, until the crunch of a boot gave away the third man's position, and before he could even spot the glint of her scope, her shot thundered through the dark, striking him clean and sending his rifle clattering into the ice. The fourth mercenary fired blindly, bullets tearing through branches, but Elena didn't panic. She waited for his reload, slid across the frozen ground, and fired once more, the echo rolling across the valley as another body dropped. Two left, and now desperation poisoned their movements, one shouting orders in broken whispers while the other cursed under his breath. And Elena felt the shift in the air. Their confidence had shattered, their arrogance dissolved into fear. For her, it wasn't just survival anymore, it was art, and with each kill, she was painting a message in the silence of the night. Perfection wasn't an accident. It was her creed, and tonight the world would learn that no trap could hold. General who refused to be broken. The night was almost still again, but Elena knew better. Two enemies remained, and desperation made men dangerous. She moved carefully, weaving through the jagged rocks, her rifle steady, her mind sharper than the cold air burning in her lungs. And then she caught the faint reflection of a scope glinting on a distant ridge. One of them had taken the high ground, believing elevation would save him, but Elena was faster. Her breath held as her crosshairs locked onto his helmet, and with a calm squeeze of the trigger, the fifth mercenary's head snapped back, his body tumbling lifelessly into the snow. Silence followed, broken only by the ragged breath of the last man, and in that silence, Elena could almost feel his fear choking him as he tried to hide among the trees. But hiding meant nothing against a sniper who had already mapped every angle, every shadow, every heartbeat. She shifted, adjusted, and when he finally dared to peek out, her sixth and final shot rang like a bell of judgment, striking with flawless precision, dropping him instantly. And just like that, the forest returned to silence. 6 men down, 6. Perfect shots, no misses. Elena lowered her rifle, her face calm, her will unshaken. And though the world would never fully know what happened in those frozen mountains, she did, and it was enough, because on that night she proved that courage wasn't about numbers, it was about resolve, and sometimes one soldier's will was stronger than an army's firepower. ************.